Hi everyone! So I'm here to talk about Kyber crystals with you. I've been really fascinated with Kyber crystals and I have been able to collect them all. So there are 27 cuts and I've been using OrlandoWizard's chart to help me figure out all the different cuts of crystals. I really like his chart. It does a great job with all the voices, the different cuts, and the RFIDs, which I'll get into a little bit later. But the one thing I found a little bit difficult to use was the photos. So I created my own chart. Well, I actually created two, depending on your own learning style. So I have one that's very similar to him. It's breaking up into color coordinated columns. And then I have one, if you're more fascinated with the cuts, breaking it into cut columns. So there's 4 different cuts of crystals. We have, starting with Darth Maul. Since the reds don't have any other characters or voices linked to them, that's what I've been using as my base. So our first one is Darth Maul. You can tell it's a Darth Maul because it comes to a point more like a tip of a sword. So if you think of a classic sword, it comes to a tip at the end. Our second one is going to be a Palpatine. His is really easy because it is just a, oh my goodness, he does not want to stay. It is just a straight shot up. It's just an easy crystal, what you would imagine a crystal would look like. Then we have our Dooku, which is a more jagged crystal, and he doesn't have any rough edges, so I called him a 3 cut. So we have 1, 2, and 3 cut. Our last cut is cut number 4, and I have labeled him as the Vader cut. So here's our Vader cut. He looks more like the tip of the Matterhorn. So if you can picture the Matterhorn, it has a slope and then a fall off point. That's what I identify as cut 4 as an easy, kind of quick guide. There's also Snoke. So Snoke is an obsidian crystal. So he is a black crystal that you can find in Galaxy's Edge. In the canister, it comes with a piece of paper. And he is a cut 4. So he doesn't fall in his own category. He falls under the cut 4 category that I have labeled him under. So he's the same mold as Vader, so to say. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about these 2 different cuts. I've labeled them as sister cuts because they're very similar to each other. So one comes to a point and then one more is a slope at the top and then with a jagged decrease. So as I've mentioned, these 2 are Maul and Vader, and 1 and 4. So I've labeled them as so. All of mine are labeled on the back with what they are so that they stay organized no matter what I do. Now with the crystals, there's different voices attached to each one. So Maul has Darth Maul's voice, and then Vader obviously has Vader's voice. We also have 2 other crystals that fall under the cut 4 category that are duplicated. So that is our Vader 8-ball and our Yoda 8-ball. So those 2, if you put it in a holocron, it's Sith or Jedi, it's going to read you as if you are reading from a magic 8-ball, which is really cool. So if you ask Yoda a yes or no question, he's going to come up with his Yoda answer instead of just the classic Yoda voice. So that's really cool with these guys. Also, I've included the RFID tags for each crystal in both of my charts, as well as so did OrlandoWizard in his charts. And if you ever wanted to switch any of your crystals to any other crystal, you can do that with an RFID scanner. In his video, he claimed that he did not have an authentic Yoda Invader 8-ball. And so he had recoded ones. And so that threw me off in the organization category of where to put them. So I was fortunate enough to come across 2 authentic ones in the wild. Wild being I was at Galaxy's Edge and I pulled them. And I labeled them under cut 4 because of the same cut as Vader. So Vader's column is the longest because his cut of crystal has the most variety to them. So very exciting. So if you put any of the crystals inside of the holocron, or either holocron, you can hear the voices. You can also change the voices by using an RFID scanner. So if you use an RFID scanner and you alter the voices, you can change them out. So I took a Dooku cut and I put a Snoke in it. So I used an RFID scanner and did that. And I came across with my own obsidian crystal before I got my own. And I painted it black. So it is a Dooku cut that if I put in the holocron, it will speak Snoke, or Snoke's lines. So it's Dooku shaped, and then here's the authentic one. So if I were to put this coded one, so this has been recoded, and I put this in here, it will say Snoke.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
So it does Snoke's lines. It was originally a Dooku crystal that I repainted after I did the RFID code on it. So that's a really cool thing. You can also put different crystals in each one and get a different outlook. You can also put the crystals on top of each other and get a different outlook as well. There's so many different things to do with the merchandise at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's so much fun. As well with the crystals, there's so many different options that you can do. It's pretty amazing. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns, or if you need help identifying your crystal, please let me know. I'll be happy to do it. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, y'all.